Are you a parent and you're thinking about homeschooling? Yeah. Well, this video is for you. Reason being, I'm talking from experience. Well, fast forward, we just moved from where we were staying, and if you're in Kenya, you understand that third term, like the last term to the end of the year, was only 1 month. So, as usual, Kenya schools prefer waking up kids as early as at 5 or 4 if the kid is going to take the school transport, and that's what we tried our best to avoid, because there's no way you're going to wake up a playgroup kid at around, because you want them to catch the school bus. Yeah, and the schedule is of course crazy because playgroup starts classes at around 8. So yeah, so for those reasons we decided we're going to homeschool her for 1 month, and then we're going to get her started back on school in PP1 the next year. Yeah? And that really sounded well, but we had to engage her. That's why we end up having a conversation and decided we're going to homeschool her. Previously she was studying in a school that was Montessori based curriculum, so we ought to continue what they were doing with the same curriculum, because here she had already grasped everything, and we didn't want to change everything, otherwise it will be so complicated for her to start adapting and catching up, because next year we're also planning to do the same, take her back to school, another school maybe, with the same curriculum. So this is what we discovered. Before you decide you want to take or you want to start your kid on Montessori or homeschooling, this is what you need to consider first as a parent. One, curriculum. Do you understand the curriculum that are being taught to the kids? Because there are so many curriculums that are being taught to kids. There's Montessori in Kenya, there's CBC, there's this one called CR something. Yeah, like there are a lot of curriculum, and all of them entail different very different things. It's just upon you parent to decide what you want your kid to learn, how you want them to understand things. For us, we chose Montessori because one, it's hands-on. Two, kids learn by playing and interacting, and it enables them to think critically every other time, because every other time they have something they have to think about it. So do you understand the curriculum? That's the first thing that you really need to know before you start homeschooling your kid with any of the curriculums. Do you know any curriculums? If you don't, then go ahead, Google and search which one you'll prefer before starting anything. Second thing you want to be aware of before starting to homeschool your kids is your schedule and lifestyle. Does your schedule match your lifestyle? Does your schedule allows you to homeschool that kid? Like, how busy are you? Who's going to do it? Yeah, that is one factor that you really need to consider. But funny enough, if let's say you start which curriculum, let's say if you're in Kenya, there's CBC. You can't homeschool your kid with CBC. It's not going to work. Why? Because the schedule is prone to like kind of be it's competence based, meaning you start in the morning, finish in the evening, and the activities involved are pretty, like, they need you to be there so that it works. However, RCE, I think it's called RCE, it's very expensive one. Two, that curriculum entails you teaching your kids everything around God. Like, it's based in Christianity. So if you're Hindu, if you're Muslim, you cannot teach your kid using that curriculum. Three, Montessori is now the one that you can do maybe if you have a very busy schedule, because one, you can only separate and decide you're going to be teaching your kid for only 30 minutes, and those 30 minutes you ensure that whatever you're going to teach them, they have to learn. Again, remember, Montessori curriculum, it's learning through play most of the time, so they are challenged every other time. And then you see, Montessori basically doesn't mean that you really have to go to school and learn about alphabets and all that. No, you can decide on a certain day, maybe that day you're very busy, you can decide you want to teach them how to cook, you want to teach them how to sweep the house, you want to teach them how to brush their teeth. See, now, though, that's all you honestly really need to know. So your schedule should be aligned with whatever, with your kids' studies. Something else you want to consider before starting homeschooling is how competent are you? How much do you know how to teach? How much do you understand about the curriculum? How much do you know about kids and understand them? Because if you really don't understand that, you're not going to teach them anything. They're not going to understand, and you're going to get frustrated even before you frustrate them. So how good are you? If you're not good, what are you planning to do? Are you planning to teach, to try look for somebody to teach them? Are you going to do online? Because right now there's online classes for kids also, and this entails extra curriculum. Remember, there's extra curriculum in this. So are you going to hire somebody to do those extra curriculum, or are you going to find a group of parents that are doing the same thing around the places that you're doing? That's what people are doing actually right now. Most parents who are homeschooling just come together and decide to do it together, so that for extra curriculum activities they don't pay much. Yeah, they just have somebody maybe teaching the kids maybe taekwondo, maybe skating, maybe chess together, and it's easy for them. So also consider that before trying to homeschool your kid. And then socialization opportunities. Remember, when kids are in school, they get to mingle and socialize with their peers, right? But at home, homeschooling, it's basically happening in your house, so they're only engaging with the people that are in that house. Maybe if you have neighbors, that's the only place maybe they can mingle out. So how are you going to figure that out? This is one thing you really need to consider, especially if you're staying in a place that doesn't have lots of people. You really ought to consider that, because social activities really tend to determine how the kid turns out, because these are the skills they grasp as little as they are. So they skip that pattern, you're going to have a problem with them when they get to the next class. So consider that before trying to think to homeschool your kid. And then another thing that you really need to figure out or think about before you start homeschooling is how good are you financially? Because homeschooling is very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. Like the materials, the books, the curriculum itself. Because of course you're going to buy that curriculum unless you have a parent who can maybe give it to you, or somebody who can share some knowledge with you, or maybe you're equipped with the same knowledge. But homeschooling is very, very expensive, starting with the toys, the books, the curriculum, time itself, extra curriculum. It's pretty expensive. So before trying to homeschool, also sort out some other options, so that you gauge yourself, how good are you financially, and can you even do it? Or even if you decide to DIY, you honestly need to include some equipments in between. So how good are you? If you're not, just try find another solution to help you social, emotional, mental health of that baby. Remember, they were with you at home from as low as probably 1 to 3 years, because at 3 years that's when they start schooling. How are you going to engage this kid so that his or her mental health is stable? Because the reason why they say kids should start school at least at 3 years is because at this particular point they have started to grasp things, they've started to understand things, they have started to build their emotional and mental status. So you mess up with that's the end. That's why most parents prefer taking their kids to maybe most expensive schools when they are younger, because at this particular age you really can't play with it. You'll rather play with them at when they are older, when they can understand things. But here it's really a big deal. So how are you going to deal with that when you are homeschooling them? Do you know how to engage them? Do you know how to talk to them? Are you certified enough that you understand kids' mental health, that you're going to solve some problem for them maybe when they encounter issues? Yes, because teachers do know that. They know how to tackle those problems because they're equipped, they're taught. How are you going to do it if it's you who is going to do it and it's not a tutor? So that's one thing you really ought to think about before starting homeschooling. And then another thing that you ought to think about is why are you doing it, and is it short term or long term? Yeah, if it's long term, what is your how have you planned it out? Yeah, are you going to do it full time, or are you later going to take them to school? Yeah, because if you're going to do it short term, maybe before starting you really ought to gauge the things that you're going to buy and so on and so forth. Otherwise you're going to really mess yourself up. So you have to decide, is it short term or long term? Are you doing it forever, or are you doing for that period of time and then change to something else? Get yourself first, don't just rush into that decision. Again, this is a very big step for you as a parent, so really get yourself, get to know the ins and the outs, get to know the disadvantages and the disadvantages, then go forward or push forward with the decisions. And before starting homeschooling, the country that you, because homeschooling is not accepted in all the countries, so in the country that you are, do your research. Have they even accepted homeschooling? Because back in Kenya, it was accepted that basic education, I think 2013 or something like that, they agreed that every kid should go to school. Every kid has a right to education, so however where you're going to do it, every other kid has to be in school. So in Kenya it's allowed. So at the state where you are or the country, is it allowed? Do they permit kids to homeschool? You ought to find that out, otherwise you're going to land yourself in problems, because at this particular moment it's being taken serious that kids are supposed to be in school. So find out about that, then get to make a. After that, last but not least, the support system. Are you doing it alone? Are there people supporting you? In other co-curricular activities, is there another person doing it, or do you have a specific place that you take your kids to do it? Like, these are the questions that you really need to ask, because alone you can't, unless you've planned it out in a way that, I don't know, you just can't. Especially on co-curricular, it's crazy. If you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. You really need support, you really need people to help you, especially in extracurricular or co-curricular activities, the outdoors. You need them to be engaged with different people, so that they can be engaged, so that they can understand other people, they know how to relate, they know how to talk to people. That's part of learning, right? So yeah, those are the things that you really need to consider before you start homeschooling. And if you're really trying, or you're going to try this out, all the best wishes. Just do your due diligence before moving forward. Yes, and with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.